Hi, welcome. The next technique I'm going to explain is called leash flexing. Okay, it's basically its purpose is to create follower moments, similar to the push and pull method. So it follows that methodology. So you do the push and pull method. You can watch the video on that. But the leash flexing method is to create these follower moments, okay, which is going to impact the overall decision-making process of the dog. So how I refer to leash flexing, they're kind of like little hey-yous, okay. And so what you're doing basically is, again, don't look at these as corrections. I mean, that's a common mistake from just appearances, from looking at how these are applied. People will, because they're following a certain methodology, they'll see that, and because of their own psychology, perhaps people will label these and not be able to step back and see what is really happening below the surface. Okay, because all this methodology, what it does is it leads to impacting the dog's overall decision-making process. Okay, so more happening than just meets the eye here. So try to keep that in mind as you apply the methods. Now, here the leash flexing, it follows it. It comes through the leash. Okay, so as your dog is sitting beside you or walking beside you, what you're doing is you're flexing the leash. You're giving the leash a little pop. Now, I say pop here. Try to look at it as not quite a heavy pull, a heavy tug. It's kind of like ringing the bell. It's got to be snappy though. It's got to have a snap to it. But it's not meant to rip your dog's head off, okay? Just bear that in mind here. It's like a little, I call it it's like a hey-you, okay? But it definitely has to get your dog's attention. It's got to snap your dog out, okay? It's got to pull them, the head should turn in towards you, okay? If the head isn't turning in towards you, either your dog could be flooded, it could be too close to the situation, whatever it is, or your dog is, or you're not doing it hard enough, okay? So you have to make sure because your dog will, if the dog's holding a certain level of power, they're going to try to buffer it, okay? They're going to kind of try to take it a little bit. So, but again, be careful with this in terms of you don't want to do it too hard, but it's got to be the right, it's got to be just the right kind of snappiness, just like a little bit. It's definitely a pop, okay? It's pops, but understand the popping shouldn't disconnect your ability to be blended into its mind and body. So it shouldn't be. Sometimes people start popping the leash and stuff. You can tell they're not really, almost like they're not even there. Okay, you're in your dog's head. Okay, so it's meant to bring that line through you. So there's definitely a coming together of this technique. It's an extension of how you think. So it's definitely smooth and fluid. But the leash flexing is just like a little pop, okay, and you're doing it to interrupt, okay. That's what you're doing. It's to interrupt. It's to target your dog's decision-making process. So you can go watch my video too on follower moments. I talk about all this stuff, but definitely it's meant to grab hold of your dog's mind, take hold of it, and then bring it back through you. Okay, so that's why the head will turn towards you. That's the indicator, the physical representation. So as you're popping it, the dog, every time you flex that leash, your dog's head should be turning towards you, not away from you, towards you, and looking, will even sometimes look up at you. Okay, but again, as you're doing it, so once the mind is in, then you stop. That's the other thing, is once you really know that the dog is taking hold, and your dog's mind is within a follower state, and the representation of that is your feel. Your dog's head's turned towards you, they're in a calm state. You don't keep flexing the leash, okay? You just do it as needed, okay? That's the whole thing. It's not just robotics of movement here. There's meaning behind everything you do here in this system, okay? So again, the leash technique. So here what's happening is, again, it's through the leash, and it's like, you can call it a nudge, okay, but you can kind of refer it to, just to get, it's like a hey you, hey, back to me, hey. So every time you do it, you can say the little hey you in your mind, hey you, hey. And what that represents is, I own it. I don't care what you think you're thinking about, because your dog is basically doing, they're objectifying the owner, and they're wrapping their mind around, they're engaging their mind around different other people, other dogs, and you'll see they're seeking out power in their mind. They'll jump from one power base to another. If you really pay attention, you'll see. But the bottom line is, the real problem is it's not coming through you. The owner's being objectified. Okay, just like the narcissistic, selfish kid that wants to be around somebody where the answer is always going to be yes most of the time, and they don't want to be around that person that is, the word could be no, they're bringing authority over that child. I mean, it's like a selfish, narcissistic thing, but you're being objectified. It's the same thing happening here. So what you're doing is you're bringing authority through this is communication. So what it does is it impacts the decision-making process of the dog, both within that moment. Okay, so there's the moment happening, and then it's how it impacts it in an overall, overall way as well. Okay, so the moments lead into, again, people call it behavior modification. I call, it's impacting the overall decision-making process of the dog, because this is the whole thing about learning theory and all these ideas. You really go through and really absorb yourself into what I'm saying here. You'll see why I do things the way I do it. Okay, and I'm not speaking commands. Okay, I'm not saying anything. I'm flexing the leash. I'm communicating. Okay, the dog, the mind will come in towards you. The dog knows what you're doing. So you want to interrupt these states. Now, again, people say, well, how often do I interrupt? Okay, again, it's relational context. Okay, once we get a snapshot, we know that dog's holding a certain level of power. You'll want to be more, you have to be proactive. Okay, in your psychology, in your in these interrupting states, so you're going to be doing it a lot. Okay, I don't care if it's a piece of dust floating through the air. I own it. Okay, that's going to happen for 2 weeks, pretty consistent. Okay, but again, dog's mind's back and through you stop. But you want to interrupt really consistently when that mind is slipping away. When your dog's locking eyes, and you feel that. Okay, flex. Sometimes you may not know the dog's locking eyes. Turn a little bit to the side so the dog's got to move, and then move its head to look at the dog, and then flex. And it's going to give you good insight. Say, okay, wow, I see it. Okay, I see what my dog is trying to go towards. I own it. Okay, flex, flex, flex. Do the push and pull technique with it. Okay, but the leash flexing, this is what you're focused on. So what it is, it's follower moments. Okay. 1 to 2 is going to have an impact, but you have to see the physical, indicator that the moments are taking hold. The dog's head will turn towards you. That's the thing. So you focus on that as you're doing it. Don't speak commands. You're doing it, but you're going to be doing it even both as you're sitting there. Say if you just put your dog into the sit position, you did your push and pull, and then you want to just start on these moments of leash flexing. Okay, but then even as you're walking your dog, do it then as your dog's mind is slipping. Okay, because what you're doing is you're being proactive, you're keeping the water levels down. Don't be reactive, because understand what we're doing here. We're impacting the overall decision-making process of the dog. We already got our snapshot. Okay, we're not going to wait. Okay, just like if your teenager's out of control, I ain't waiting for the pipe bomb to go off in the bedroom. Okay, I'm going to be in there checking things out, seeing what's going on. I'm going to be challenging the agenda. I mean, that's what we're doing. Okay, this is why we're doing it this way. We're bringing authority over the mind. Okay, and the mind's reacting. Okay, so if you're flexing leash even before the dog is doing anything, and the challenge starts happening, then that's your indicator. Okay, if you're flexing a leash, okay, and the dog's mind's already there coming in, then we know we're already there. We know we have a balanced dog. This is all about putting this in the right context. So do not think of it as a correction. Think of it as we're engaging. We're in competition. Okay, we're going to align ourselves with. So what I'm doing is I'm communicating. I'm challenging what's happening. Okay, I'm saying no, I own it. Okay, so we have to we're targeting the dog's decision-making process in a meaningful way. So we have to be doing it this way. It's very, very critical. This is a basic technique. This is an important technique. It's a basic technique, and it's applied in combination. Okay, incorporated into other methods, okay, as we're doing it. So if we're walking the dog, this is going to be one of my main techniques I'm going to use, the leash flexing. along with the sit position, the push and pull, the circle method. And then with this, I'm just standing there, just talking to somebody. This is the other thing. When doing this technique, you don't want to, at first, you might want to anchor. This is common. People will anchor, you know, the hands like this and then work off it this way, you know, flexing on this. But the thing with anchoring is it gives, you know, it's good to do it at first. If the dog, if we have a fear the dog's gonna charge out, or we want to stabilize the dog better and anchor it. And that's okay to do it for the first couple of days. But eventually, once we have a certain level of roll change, you want to just work off holding the leash in one hand, okay, and flexing. Because what this does, it gives me a better sensation of where the mind is traveling. So you want to get to a level where I don't even have to look down at the dog. I can just feel the mind going, and I'm flexing at the same time as the mind is good traveling, okay? Now, the important thing, too, is after each leash flex, okay, there should be, you must, okay, have, after I flex the leash, a little slack immediately comes into the line, okay? Because you want to see where the mind is traveling. And besides, if it's always tight, okay, when the dog's saying what's going on, okay, it's communication, so it's confusing the dog, because I'm just keeping the dog's mind in a constant state of authority, okay? This isn't just robotics, it's just doing something without meaning. What we're doing is, picture is a defined line going down the middle of the dog's brain, okay? When it goes on this side, I'm flexing to bring it over to this side, and that's where the head will turn towards you. So it's not just robotics of movement. You know, when the dog's mind's slipping away, I'm interrupting. Okay, I'm targeting the dog's decision-making process. I'm bringing the mind through me. So again, so how it is, it's like every time I'm a little slack here, the mind starts going this way. I'm flexing. The mind, you'll see the head will start turning. Flex again, turn. Flex again to look up, and then stop. Okay, once it's in, stop. It starts going back this way again. Flex again. Flex again. Now, if it's really going over here, right here, I might have to flex a little quicker. And then as it goes, I'll start to reduce the tempo, okay? So it's like a bit of a vibration almost, you know, in the back. Okay, so it's all techniques how you line it. But again, communication after the leash flexing, okay, a little slack. But if the dog is really pushing, now this is the thing, this is one of the common mistakes. You get into make people call oppositional, resistance. But you don't want, if you're walking the dog and as soon as it starts leaning out like this, stop. Just put the dog back in the sit. You don't want to get into a position where the dog is pulling or it's heavy like this and it's trying to draw its body down, okay, because what it's doing is trying to push the boundaries. Put the dog in the sit, flex the leash, okay? You have to establish its clarity. You've got to make sure this is clearly defined, okay? You have to make sure those lines are clear so the dog's mind is slipping out. Flex, 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 back. Okay, don't allow your dog to resist and get you locked into a stalemate situation. You need to get that dog, interrupt and get that dog's mind back, okay? So, the technique, be assertive with it, clarity, but I'll tell you something, the secret is, if you're serious in your mind, the dog feels that. So make sure you get clarity, be serious with this technique. Doesn't mean you'll be aggressive, okay, because there's always a calmness to this. There's always a calmness, a confidence, smoothness, fluid, and even this technique too, when you're doing it right, okay, and you're walking, and you're leash flexing, I mean, because your body motion and everything, someone looking at it shouldn't be able to pick it out as an aggressive movement, okay? Just like you're just kind of picking away at your dog's mind here, and just keep bringing it, you just keep grabbing your dog's mind and bringing it through you. So when you're doing the technique, the leash flexing is done right, it's not quite a hard correction, it's just I call it like a nudge. Okay, it's like ringing the bell. It's got to be sharp though, but it's a nudge. So you have to practice it and get that going on because it's just like part of your body. It's an extension of your mind. Okay, so it's not disconnected where you're just disconnected away from it. It's just like back through me, back through me, back through me, back through me. Okay, it's just like you're grabbing the whole dog's mind. Okay, so anyway, practice technique. It's a great technique. It's a core technique, and it's applied within both. Inside the home, outside the home, different settings, but it's all meant to take hold of the dog's mind. So, and create overall change when it comes to the dog's decision-making process. So, thanks very much for watching. Hope you have a great day.